channel. I know that I have not vlogged anything in a little bit. It's honestly because nothing interesting has been going on in my life. Nothing has changed. I'm still working. I'm still a full-time student, and I'm still a pilot in training. So I am going to start this new series on my channel, Steps to Become a Pilot. I think this will be very helpful because I do get questions about that on my channel, on how I finance my flight training and things of that sort. Financing my flight training will be a completely different video because I have a whole spiel on financing your flight training. This video is just going to be things, essentials that you need when you're starting your private pilot training. So we're going to go ahead and jump into that right now. The first thing you need in your flight training as a private pilot, a sectional. This is what a sectional looks like. This is a VFR private pilot sectional. They have different types of sectional. Like if you're doing IFR training, they have en route, low IFR sectionals and stuff like that. But you won't be working on that as a private pilot. As a private pilot, everything you're going to be doing is pretty much VFR, which stands for Visual Flight Rules. So meaning everything, all of your visual checkpoints that you need when you plan across country and things of that sort are going to be here on the sectional. The sectional consists of this on the back here. These are just like the legends. It tells you what everything means on the actual sectional. And if you open it up, it's going to look a little bit like this right here. So this is what it looks like. I know you're probably like, what is that? These are like airports and things of that sort, airways and everything. This is a Atlanta sectional because I do live in Atlanta, so I use an Atlanta sectional. Sometimes I might use a Jacksonville sectional. This one says Jacksonville. I don't ever really honestly use this sectional because whenever I go flying, I mostly go either to the west or to the north, and the Atlanta sectional is better for that, but I do have a Jacksonville sectional just in case I decide to fly somewhere else. So the first thing you do need as a private pilot is sectionals, because this is what you will be using throughout the majority of your cross-country flight planning when you get to that part of your lesson as a private pilot. The second thing you need, well honestly this should have been the first thing I showed you, you need a student pilot license. This is what it looks like. This is my student pilot license. You need to have this on you when you go fly because it is a FAA requirement. Student pilot must have a student pilot license. You can't just go up there and be all willy-nilly without a license. As a student pilot, you also you need this whenever you go fly by yourself during your flight training. So this is also something that you need to have. You can apply for these. I think most people get them when they go and get their medicals. I'll show you what a medical looks like in a second, but most people can apply for these. I think at a FIS though, I could be wrong, I'll check that. But yeah, you can apply for these. Most students usually get them once they get their medicals for them to go and fly. I also have a flight attendant license because I am a certified flight attendant, and I know y'all gonna ask me that. Nothing has changed, okay? I do have a private pilot license because I am already a private pilot. I did get my private pilot license already, but yeah, this is what my flight attendant license looks like. This is what my student pilot license looks like. This is actually no longer valid because I am a private pilot. My private pilot license is in my bag. I'm not gonna go get it because I was just showing you what it looks like. They all honestly look the same. When you become a pilot or do anything like that, all our licenses look like this, except the only thing that'll be different on there is what it's for. So this one says flight attendant because I am a flight attendant. This one says student pilot because at the time I was a student pilot, and so on and so forth. When you get your instrument rating, your commercial rating, it'll say commercial, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Next thing you need is a medical. This is my medical. I'm covering my certificate number here, so y'all can't see that. This is my medical right here. It says medical certificate, 3rd class, and student pilot certificate. You need a medical because the FAA does require you to be fit to fly. So you get a medical to assess your like hearing, your vision, things of that sort. They do ask you if you have certain medical conditions such as, you know, diabetes, all that stuff. I know they ask you if you have like cancer and things of that sort because they don't really want a pilot to fly like if you have cancer and things like that, and you know, just certain sicknesses, they would just rather you not fly. So they do ask you things like that on your medical. my medical is actually about to expire, so I do need to go get it renewed. But when I get my 3rd class medical renewed, it won't be a 3rd class, it'll probably be a 2nd class medical. Okay, the next thing you need as a private pilot is obviously a logbook. You need a logbook. A logbook, this is where you're gonna log all of your flight hours. The only required things that you can log in here are times going towards a rating or certificate that you're trying to achieve, and endorsements. Here's some like endorsements that I have in my logbook from my flight training. These are endorsements that my instructor gave me. I also have some written ones in here as well. Show you guys that. This is another endorsement here. Whenever you go on like solo flights or anything like that, you need an endorsement for that. You can't just go and fly by yourself. This is in your student pilot training, or for private pilot or commercial, you need to get an endorsement. You can't just say, hey, I'm gonna fly from Atlanta to Tallahassee today because I feel like it. You can't do that. You need an endorsement. The only way you can do that is if you're a private pilot, and there are restrictions to that as well. So you need a logbook, and this is just what mine looks like. I have a lot of flight hours logged in here. I have a lot of flight hours logged in my flight book. So you need a logbook to log your flight hours. Next thing you need is a POH, or a pilot operation handbook. This is a POH. This is what it looks like. Every student pilot needs to have one for their airplane, because when you go on your check ride, you need to bring your POH with you. Also, the POH explains all of the specifications tailored to your aircraft, so you definitely need to have that with you. This contains like weight and balance, performance charts, things of those sorts. I will explain all of those things later, but if you are in pilot training, these are things that you will learn, so it's okay if you don't understand. Performance charts are basically just things that tell you like takeoff distance, takeoff weight, landing weight, things of that sort, like with certain temperatures. So that's what's in here. Also, how much fuel. It explains like aircraft systems as well. So you need to have a POH. This is a Piper Warrior POH because these are the planes that I fly. I use the glass. I use the G500 because I flew the Steam a few times. I flew it all the way throughout my stage 1. I do go to a Part 141 flight school, so we do everything in stages. Stage 1, 2, and 3 for private. Your end of course, and then your check ride. So you need a POH because all the specifications tailored to your aircraft are going to be in this book here, in your POH. The next thing you need as a pilot, now your school might provide these, but I couldn't use my school's headphones anymore. To me, it's just kind of nasty because a lot of people put that on their head, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want someone else's sweat touching my face. That's really nasty to me. So I went ahead and purchased a pair of Aviation headsets. These are my headsets here. These are ASA headsets. These are bomb.com headsets. Like, the day I bought these and I had a flight and I used them, the quality of them are so good, and it's really important to purchase headsets that you can see yourself using throughout your flight career. Don't just get like some dingy headsets that like break all the time, where you're gonna have to like buy a new pair of headsets. I'm taking these with me all the way on till I become a pilot at the airline. They're really good. I'm gonna show you what these look like. These are the headsets here. See, they just say ASA right there. So these are my headsets. In the planes we have 2 little ports, so that's why you see these here. So when you talk to ATC, you're talking to other pilots and stuff like that, you need to have some headsets. Like I said, the school does provide these, but I only use them when I first started my flight training. I purchased a pair of headsets like ASAP because I don't want nobody's sweat touching my head. Another thing that you need is a plotter. I honestly only use my plotter when I was practicing flight diversions in stage 2 of my flight training, and you will need a plotter. This one is a rotating plotter, which makes your life so much easier. They have the other one that's just straight. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh yeah, this one. I have this old one. This one does not rotate. It's really hard to use this plotter. It's just, you know, this basic plotter, and I hate this one because it doesn't rotate. I honestly didn't know how to use it. So I got a rotating plotter, and it makes it easy to see what your course you're on and what course you need to go to when you're planning your diversion. Also, it shows you how much nautical miles you're going to be between your checkpoints and stuff. There's a statute mile things on here, but we only use statute miles honestly when we're talking about visibility. But in terms of like how far something is, we say nautical miles. So yeah, this is what you need. I would highly recommend this. This is an ASA plotter. This one spins. It's really easy to use. I'll try to link these things down below if you guys are interested in them. But yeah, you need a plotter. Everything I'm telling you guys need these things. I almost guarantee when you go through your flight training, you're going to use all of these things. So you definitely need a plotter. You need a chart supplement book. A chart supplement tells you every single thing in this particular region. So this chart supplement, this is for the Southeast region. So it contains the states of Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. Every single airport that's in those states is in this chart supplement book. And a chart supplement book, it tells you everything from what time the air traffic control tower is in operation, if that airport has a tower. It tells you how long the airport is, just some airport remarks. When I say how long I mean like the runway. It tells you what type of approaches they have at that airport, you know, weather frequencies. It tells you if anything is inoperative, like the runway lights or something like that. You can also find things like that in NOTAMs, Notice to Airmen. It tells you things like that as well. It tells you certain things about an airport that are really, really helpful. You need to have a chart supplement when you go on your check ride as well. They are going to check that. This is actually very useful because it tells you very important, pertinent information about airports. The next thing you are going to need is an E6B. Now, there are two different types of E6Bs. There's an electronic E6B, which is this one here, which I find is a lot easier. This is an electronic E6B. This is a Sporties E6B, which is, this video is not sponsored by Sporties, but yeah, I've gotten a lot of this stuff from Sporties, Pilot Goods. So this is an electronic E6B. You can use this to calculate things from heading, ground speed, your altitude, wind direction, timer, fuel, time, distance, anything you could think of. This electronic E6B makes it 10 times easier for you to do it. Now, if you want to use the manual E6B, I have it in this little protector here. This is also from ASA, not sponsored by the way. You can get the manual E6B that looks like this. This is what it looks like. I hate this thing. Honestly, ever since I started using my electronic one, I stopped using this one after I started using the electronic one because this one is just so much easier. But I will tell you, it is better to learn it on this because essentially when we all started our flight training, they introduced us to this. So it is good to learn this. E6B is just an electronic computer. It shows you how to calculate things from wind correction, time, and all those things. So everything that you can calculate on this, you can calculate on this, but this one just makes it a lot easier. And yeah, now I did use this when I first started my cross-country flight planning, but it was really difficult. I had to get a lot of training on this. So yeah, you can get either or. I do recommend you learn this one at least, but if you don't want to, you can always get an electronic one because, you know, they both work the same way. Another thing that you need, which I recommend, it's not really a need, but I would recommend it. You do need to get a Pilot Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge. This thing here, now I'm not saying read it from cover to cover because I'm not gonna lie, I did not do that. There are just certain things in here that I needed to review over. For example, the first time I took my private pilot check ride, I failed it. Okay? It was not a good feeling. I was very disappointed, very discouraged for a very long time. I didn't fly for about 2 months after I failed my check ride because that's how bad it hurt me. So yeah, Pilot Handbook, a PHAK is what we call it, but it stands for a Pilot Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge. This is what it looks here. This is a really good book to study out of. It tells you every single thing you need to know about, like how your flight instruments work, registration, P factor, you know, wind correction, runway markings, weight and balance, weather. It's all in this book. So I highly recommend you. This is not a need, but I would highly recommend that you guys purchase this PHAK because it has a lot of good information for you to learn in here. I more so reference it when I don't fully understand something. I'm not sure if they have stuff about VORs in here. That's actually a really good question. I need to go and check as well. VORs is very high frequency omnidirectional range thing. You'll learn more about that in your flight training. I'm not going to go too in depth with that, but VORs are very hard to learn. So I need to check to see if they do have this in the PHAC, because I never actually checked. So this book is very resourceful. Every single thing that you could possibly think of that you need to touch bases on with your knowledge is inside the PHAC. Everything else that I've showed you, those are needs. You actually do need to get those. With the exception of the headsets, headsets are a little bit pricey. I know most pilots use like the Bose headsets, but those cost like over $1,000, and I'm not paying that, okay? My ASA headsets, they work really well. They only cost me, I think, $150, and they have been holding up great. I have them for almost 2 years now. They work really, really well, so I'd highly recommend you get the ASA headsets. I try to link those down below as well. For the pilot people who do watch my channel and are interested, because I know the majority of my viewers are flight attendant viewers. I have not posted any flight attendant videos in a while, but I will get back to posting those. I've just been super busy with school. School is my #1 priority. So yeah, especially since I'm trying to graduate college. I'm supposed to graduate next year, so yeah. Another thing that you will need as a private pilot is you need a FAR aim. Now, in every stage of your flight training, you need to have an aim. A FAR aim, because it can be tabbed out for different things. I need to get one and tab it out for IFR. I probably won't do that until closer to my check ride for my instrument license, but this one is tabbed out for VFR, Visual Flight Rules. As a private pilot, everything we do is VFR. I have it tabbed out for certain things. You need to have the current one, so this is a 2019 FAR aim, and it contains everything about federal aviation regulations and also aeronautical information manual. That's what it stands for. So it tells you a lot of things pertaining to pilots and certain practices we need to have. Also, it tells you a lot in here about your medical certificates, maintenance, pilot and command responsibilities, ATC signals, basic VFR minimums, airspaces, all that stuff is in the FAR aim. This is a very resourceful book, and you need to have this during your flight training. I highly recommend it, or you will struggle, trust me. Honestly, a lot of this stuff didn't cost over $15. I think the most expensive book that I actually have bought was the PHAC. The PHAC was like $20, but this was only like, I want to say like $11 maybe. Chart supplement was only like $10. My sectionals were $10. My logbook was like $10. All this stuff is like really cheap to get. You can get more expensive ones if you want, but at the end of the day, it's all for the same purpose, so it's up to you on how much you want to spend. The next thing that you need to have in your flight training are Nav Logs. Nav Logs are what we use when we plan our cross countries. This is what they look like. Now, you can print these out on your own, but 9 times out of 10, the flight training school that you're going to should provide these. But a navigation log, it just makes you be able to log your VFR checkpoints when you're on a cross country. So a visual checkpoint is something that you can look outside of your plane and physically see when you're planning your cross country, so you can know exactly where you are. So you can put certain things on here, like what altitude you're going to be at, your checkpoints, your airspeed, how much fuel you're going to burn, and things of that sort. You can also put your airport frequencies on here, like from your departure and your destination. It's really good to have that on there so you're not trying to scramble and find it, especially in certain aircrafts that are not more automated. Like me, the airplane that I fly a G500, so it's the glass. It's very easy to find airport codes and things like that. So I am a little spoiled in the glass, but yeah, so Nav Logs, you're going to use these throughout your private pilot training, especially when you get to stage 2 and 3 when you have to do cross countries. So you need to have Nav Logs. But like I said, you can print these out on your own. There is a front and a back, but 9 times out of 10, your school will provide these for you. This is the one that I used on my check ride. I had to plan to Nashville, but like I said, I failed my check ride on the first try, so I still have it. So yeah, this is not any type of debate. You need to have this. This is a private pilot ACS. ACS stands for Airman Certification Standards. You absolutely need this. Now, they do have one online. I don't recommend it because let's just say you don't have Wi-Fi or something. You know what I mean? it's always good to have the paperback, and this only costs $10. Airman Certification Standards book is pretty much every single thing that you learn in your flight training. It tells you the standards to that, so that when you go and take your check ride, you won't bust any of your standards. So every maneuver that we learn, like steep turns, turns around a point, S turns, power on and off, stall, slow flight, there are standards that you need to perform those things to in terms of maintaining your altitude, making sure you're at the right airspeed and things of that sort. All of that is in the ACS. So you need to purchase an ACS. I can't stress that enough. You need to have an ACS, because when you go on your check ride, your DPE, your designated pilot examiner, they're reading straight from this. The next thing, which is also the final thing, I have this software on my iPad. It's called FARA. Now, you don't have to get this FARA. Well, I get it cheaper because I am a student. But if you purchase it on your own, I believe the basic subscription is like $100 a year. They have more advanced subscriptions, and they are fire, but I just cannot afford it. So FARA, it looks like this. And on FARA, it lets you be able to plan certain things. It shows you like your airport and stuff like that. Mine is loading kind of slow here, but this is what FARA looks like. Oh wow, we have a lot of storms around us right now. They already passed. So right, this is what FARA looks like. This is it right here. It shows you things like weather. It tells you your heading and route and things of that sort. You can pull up like airport approach plates. You can see the airport pictures and everything like that, how the runways are set up. So you can use FARA for things like that. I use FARA a lot. I use it for the majority of my flight training. I was kind of spoiled. I don't like to do the traditional way with the plotter and things of that sort. So I use FARA because FARA is extremely accurate. So I use things like that. You can also do things like weight and balance. I do weight and balance in FARA as well, even though I do know how to do it the manual way. But I do weight and balance in there as well. This is just a chart. Oh, you guys can't see that. So that's just how that looks right there. So you can do weight and balance and things like that with FARA, and it's a very useful app. I really, really love it. So I use it for a lot. I use it for my flight planning, weather, TFR is like flight restriction and things like that. I use it for that as well. So that's something important. Now, you don't have to purchase FARA, but I highly recommend it, especially once you start to progress through your flight training. FARA does get very, very handy. So FARA, you can have that as well. This is my iPad. A lot of our pilots in training do have iPads. The school doesn't give it to us, of course. We purchase it with our own money. I got an iPad my very, very first semester in flight school. My stepdad bought it for me. So I'm thankful for that, and I still have it, and I still use it. So very, very useful. So yeah, you guys, those are some things that you need when you're going through your flight training. Now, I said some of these things are not needs, they're more so optional, but I highly recommend them because it'll help you progress through your flight training. But for the most part, I think I touched on everything that I've used so far in my flight training. And if you are considering going to flight training, I'm pretty sure when you go, they'll as you go through your program, they'll start to tell you more things that you need. But for the most part, I've touched on every single thing that they will tell you. I wouldn't recommend going out and buying these things before you actually, enroll in your flight school and things of that sort, because you won't really know what you're doing. But you can use this video as a reference and things of that sort. So with that being said, that is going to be the end of this video. Anyway, you guys, like I said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Mostly subscribe because I noticed that a lot of people watch my videos and they don't subscribe to my channel, but that's also my fault too because I don't post consistently. But yeah, I hope you guys find this helpful, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.